The past game jams I've entered haven't exactly gone to plan. The enemies in this entry are literally invincible, and in this game you can win by just doing nothing, which isn't what I had in mind. So when Gdevelop hosted a game jam, I started to cry. In a game jam, a theme is announced that everyone competing against each other makes the game about, creating, in my case, bad quality games like this. The theme for this game jam was Pets or Companions, which wasn't too bad. For my awesome game, you would play as a robot who couldn't fight for himself, but instead made other robots to fight for him. There was just one problem: I can't do art. So what I opted for instead was minimalism. Art, but minimal. So I made this main character, which uses nearly the same amount of pixels as this $1 million NFT, so I must be doing something right. And for the UI, which I normally struggle on, I just used rectangles. And for the walking animation, I just stretched the character. But minimalism makes it look like you haven't tried at all, as you can see by my art score. Other games got a higher score than mine just by using pre-made assets. I guess that says a lot about my art. Well, with my game looking slightly bearable, I began programming. I didn't want to overscope, where you add so many ideas that your game becomes unfinishable. Instead, I'd make something really small but focus on polishing instead. What better to start with than an arcade game? Now go! I'm not talking Pong, but rather a beat-em-up style game, so I coded in the basic movement. Okay, that was a lie. Gdevelop has its own built-in behavior for that, so I stole that instead. Then I added in other features like health and an over-dramatic death animation.
This is not right, this is not cool.
Next, I created a win screen, which is just a death screen but with some extra stats. These stats are only here to make it look professional. No one would ever want to speedrun this. And yes, I didn't add my title screen at the last moment. I am a responsible adult. Here are some enemies that want you to die. Here are some more enemies that want you to die. The enemies have a delay before beating you up. I'm not trying to make the next Dark Souls here. The smaller enemies now strafe around randomly rather than following you, so we don't get a giant mosh pit of enemies. I implemented in murder. The XP drop from enemies levels you up, unlocking a new companion to help you fight. But the companion bots don't have a name, so I searched on Google and I've decided to come up with my own robot names. Every robot is a circle because I can't draw. And now that I've set up enemy waves, the game looks about finished.
We'd like to show some honorable mentions, starting with Scrap Metal, where you pick companions to help you fight while you run around and try not to die.
Hey you, yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Stop procrastinating.